Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special guest. This is Adam from Carnivore Today. That is his YouTube channel. So welcome, Adam.
How you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Awesome, man. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor.
All
Thanks,
right.
Brian. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you for coming to the show today. So let's get started with giving us a little bit of background about you and how you got started on the carnivore diet.
Well, I'm 46, soon to be 47. Former fat guy. At least I thought I was pretty fat. I wasn't able to breathe when I tied my shoes, so I think that qualifies. Um, I'm a professional photographer. I'm married. Have two boys. They're both grown and out of the house. 25 and 26. And they're living their best life right now. So the way that I came to carnivore was through an autoimmune condition. So actually, I had started intermittent fasting and losing some weight that way, but it just really wasn't working for me. It was kind of a starvation thing, and I probably would have stuck it out. But yeah, I didn't really start carnivore because of weight loss or anything else other than the autoimmune condition. It's called vitiligo, which is a condition in which your skin has spots on it where it doesn't produce melanin, so it just looks white. And I have some of that around my hip, which I don't show pictures of. And then after being on a vegan slash standard American diet for 2 years, um, those spots started to appear in other places, like on my arms and things. And I thought, you know what, I need to figure out what this is, because around my waist, it's under my pants, whatever, no big deal. But now it started showing up other places, and I thought, I'm going to look into this and see if I can get rid of it. So I found a Joe Rogan podcast where he was talking about his condition with vitiligo, and he was doing the carnivore diet. And at that time, I had never heard of anything like the carnivore diet. Like, what is this? This is a very strange thing. And his spots started to actually fill in. And I thought, well, I'm kind of a crazy person, so I'm going to look into it, see what it is, and I'm going to try it no matter what it is. Unless it's like you have to eat black licorice and cow hooves or something like that. So yeah, that's how I found it. Yep, it wasn't weight loss or anything like that. It was trying to reverse an autoimmune condition.
And how long have you been carnivore now?
It's been right at about exactly 6 months, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what kind of progress have you seen with that autoimmune condition?
it's actually starting to reverse, which is surprising to me because the doctors, everybody tells you that it's not reversible. Like it's impossible unless you have this very expensive, um, high dollar treatment, and which I don't have the money for. Joe Rogan does, but I'm not Joe Rogan, so I can't afford that. So I have to try to find other means, and so yeah, it actually started to reverse maybe around the 4 month mark, which I
Good.
was kind of impressed with because everybody else that I found, which is very few people, at least on YouTube, and nobody on Google I could find that has reversed this. There's
Hmm.
probably examples out there. I just couldn't find it. But all the ones I came across said that it was 9 to 12 months before you see any kind of improvement. And
Hmm.
so I thought I was
Wow.
fortunate that it had started to reverse. Now, the original area around my waist hasn't started to fill in yet, but the latest, or the newest spots that have showed up have actually started to fill back in. So it might just be like a reversing thing or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah. So, other than the white spots on your skin, are there other complications with that autoimmune disease?
No, it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no pain, or it doesn't itch or anything like that. It's just the
Yeah.
the melanin's gone. It's weird.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
explain it.
Well, I tell you,
So
there
yeah,
are
it's
some
more
really
of a
weird.
vanity thing. It's more of a vanity thing than anything. It's like I was like, man, if it's showing up on my arms, I guess it could show up anywhere. Like on my face or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't care. It's I'm still me, but still, it's just like something's going on that's not right, and I need to try to fix it, whatever it is.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Um, so you mentioned that you were overweight and you had trouble tying your shoes. Obviously, you are not overweight anymore. You look great.
No, thanks.
So let's talk a little bit about the weight loss, even though that wasn't your primary reason. Let's talk a little bit about that and what you've seen there.
Well, like I said, I was doing the intermittent fasting. I probably had lost. Well, I didn't know at the time how much weight I needed to lose. I thought I needed to get down to maybe 165 or somewhere around there. But ideally, probably 165 is good with a decent amount of muscle. Um, but the weight charts always said I needed to be around 150, 155, something like that to be healthy, right? And I was at around 210. I'm 5'9", by the way, so I'm not like super tall or anything like that. So my frame has always been kind of small, anyways. So yeah, I had lost about 15 pounds intermittent fasting, and uh, like I said, that was almost like torture. But I had pretty good willpower, so I powered through it. The not eating period, and I didn't understand that anything about eating fat and being satiated. It was just, oh, somebody said you can eat the standard American diet, and and in between eating, you fast, but it still had like an intense amount of hunger and things like that in between that I couldn't really overcome. So after I started carnivore, um, within 3 days, the most significant thing for me at that time was plantar fasciitis.
Hmm.
The pain with that was super intense. I couldn't stand for more than 30 minutes. Special shoes. I had, a boot to wear at night, all this crazy stuff. And that one started going away after 3 days. And after 5 days, it was completely gone. So that was
Wow.
like
Just
shocking.
5 days.
5 days. And I had
Wow.
had that condition for about a year and spent probably $600 at least on shoes and the boot. And it sucked. I mean, 30 minutes, I'd have to sit down for 2 hours.
Wow.
And just that cycle all the time. And, they always, like, all the treatments are like, roll your foot on a pop can that's been in the freezer, just weird stuff. It's like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
like bring a pop can with me everywhere I go. It's so stupid. But I didn't find any relief from any of that sort of thing. But literally within a week, that was gone.
Hmm.
So yeah, with the weight loss, it started to come off right away, and it seemed like I can't stop this at all. It just keeps going and going and going, and before I know it, I was down 50 pounds and was still going. Occasionally, I'd hit the cheese, and the cheese would make me stall every single time until I figured
Yeah.
it out. And I'm down probably around 65 now, and I put on about 5 pounds of muscle, so it's a
Wow.
net 60.
Yeah. That's great.
So
Yeah. So let's go back really quick to that where you talked about um, the standard weight for healthy weight for a person. I
right,
do have a beef with that because I really think that they come up with those measurements for somebody that is also very skinny, not muscular, right?
right,
That's exactly what I'm thinking because I haven't weighed where I should for my height. I'm 6'4". I haven't weighed
Mm-hmm.
where I should since high school. In
Right.
high school, I played basketball, and there is video of me playing basketball. And when we would watch the games the next day, I looked like a complete toothpick. And that's when I weighed what I was supposed to weigh according to their scale. And I
Right.
wasn't
Right.
very muscular then either. So I really think that that scale is a little off. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, I think that most people, most Americans are overweight,
Mm-hmm.
me included. I've lost like 75 pounds at this point, but I'm still
Nice.
overweight. I still have
Mm-hmm.
more weight to lose, but I'm not sure that I really trust their scale that they come out with. It just seems to
Right.
me like that's for somebody that doesn't have any muscle at all. And when you
Right.
do the carnivore diet, it maybe it's not very easy, but it's much easier to gain muscle.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and
for
that's when I
sure.
think you're getting really healthy, right? When you're
Right.
not just losing the weight and getting rid of all the different conditions that you have with different autoimmune diseases, and your immune system getting better and so forth. But I think also that you build muscle. And so yeah, that's my little rant there. Is I don't know that I really agree with their
Right. Right.
scales. So
Yeah, it probably has something to do more with adopted from food manufacturers or something. you
yeah,
know, like
yeah.
the medical industry probably didn't even come up with it.
When you're eating all this fake plant-based food, you're not building as much muscle, so that's probably what you really would weigh in that case. But yeah,
Right.
I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. True. Yep.
Yep. All right. So, um, let's see. You had talked about the plantar fasciitis. Were
Mm-hmm.
there any other benefits that you discovered from doing carnivore so far?
Oh, geez. Yeah. It's almost too many to list. I had osteoarthritis, and that's completely gone. Um, try to remember off the top of my head. Actually wrote a list of these down, and I was going to make a video of this, and it's probably going to be like an hour long video. Brain fog is gone. Mental clarity is through the roof. Oh, let's see what else. I had adult acne, and being 46 years old, that's kind of embarrassing. And
Yeah.
could never figure out what it was. Always used topical treatments and this and that and whatever else, and nothing ever worked. So um, that's completely gone, completely healed. What else? Yeah, the arthritis was a big one. Just waking up feeling like you'd been in a war zone,
Mm.
and just not being able to move until like you felt like your joints have been lubed up or whatever.
Yeah.
um, yeah,
What
that
about like immune system wise? How often do you get sick now compared to the way you used to? Has that changed, or is that about the same?
it's about the same, but I never got sick before.
Okay.
So there's been no change. I don't get sick now. So
Mm.
I guess maybe the difference is before I would have more like what would seem like not a sinus infection, but just like allergies. I guess
Hmm.
the symptoms of allergies were probably a little bit more prevalent before going carnivore than they are now. Now it's just like kind of feel like something's going on, but it's just you just notice it. Like it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah. I've kind of noticed that a little bit too. And from what I hear, the longer you go on carnivore, the better it gets. So, like maybe after a year or 2 years or so, you might get to the point that you just don't have the allergies at all, which I'm looking
Nice.
forward to because I definitely have certain allergies like, dust and um, like pet dander and that kind of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
definitely looking forward to that if it gets better
Right.
here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I went through allergy shots for, man, it was like 5 years or something like that
Mm.
for dust mites, spring grass, ragweed, uh, Siamese cats of all things, which is weird. But yeah, they were giving me shots for that, and yeah, I'd have to go in every single week and get
Wow,
allergy
every
shots
week.
every single week for
Wow.
6 years. It was insane. Yeah, they would. I forget exactly what the process was, but I remember. I think it was just like a little teeny tiny shot. But yeah, it was a shot. But when they first did the testing for it, they put these. They look like like your grandma has her pills organized for the week and the month, and the little flipper things for every day of the week.
Yeah.
Like they would have a serum in each one of those things, and it would be numbered or whatever. And then there was 10 of them in this little thing, and then they put it on your back, put a droplet on you, and then they grab another one and do that again. It's like a grid of 100 they put on my back,
Mm.
and then they took like what was like a seam ripper or something, and like poked that spot where that serum was, and then after a certain amount of time they checked and seen what the reaction was with each one. And I was probably like 7 when they did that, man. And it was like some kind of torture device or something. Because they told me, they said, do not move. If 2 of these little droplets come together, we got to do this all again, which was probably not true. But I was a kid and they didn't want me to move. But man, that really sucked.
So here they are telling a 7-year-old, do not move.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Your first
Exactly.
thought is, I'm moving.
Right. Yeah. So there was a lot of, tension and crying, and oh man, it sucked. It was bad. And then 6 years of going in every single week. And it did seem to
That's
make a
crazy.
little bit of improvement, but
Yeah.
yeah, kind of
So
grew out of it, I guess.
okay, that's what I was
But
going to ask if you've battled that throughout your life, but you've grown out of most of those allergies then?
most of it, and it's probably just because we live in an area, it's called the Miami Valley, and it's horrible, horrible for allergies.
Hmm.
It sucks really bad for a lot of people, and I guess maybe just over time my body's got used to it or something. But like
Yeah,
I
it could
said,
be.
I noticed it before I went carnivore a lot more, and now that I'm carnivore, it's just a thing that I kind of notice that it's there. It's that my nose isn't running and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. All right. So, um, how about like exercise? Is there anything you do, whether it's walking or maybe lifting weights or running or any of that kind of stuff? Is there anything like that that you do with your diet?
well, I was the anti-exercise guy ever since I stopped martial arts when I was 18 and moved out of the house. Just life got a hold of me. Started working 55 hours a week in a machine shop and doing electrical work, and I never looked back. I'm like, man, that's too much like extra work doing exercise. So here it is, what 30 years later or something like that, and I actually have started to exercise. Maybe 3 months into carnivore, I have so much energy that I have to do something with it.
Mm.
I have to like knock it down a couple pegs. So I started doing some resistance bands and some dumbbells and things like that, body weight stuff, push ups and sit ups and squats and all that sort of thing. I have this book. It's called Convict Conditioning. And it's literally like if you're in a prison cell, like all the body weight exercises that you could do, and it gives you like all your
Okay.
reps, and it's a progression. Like with push ups, you start, do wall push ups, do a certain number of them, and then you do like a incline push ups, and then you do like knee push ups, and then you do regular push ups. Then it gradually gets you to where you're doing like one finger push ups. I'm nowhere near that, but but yeah, that's a really really good book if somebody's looking that's elderly or something like that. The stuff that they have to start you out with um, core exercises and legs and upper body. It's very very simple to start with, and that's what I needed because I was a weak. I was a
Yeah.
weakling.
So that was 3 months in, though, right? So it's fair
Yep.
to say that between the intermittent fasting and then starting on carnivore, you were already doing a good job of losing weight. So that
Hmm.
shows that really you didn't need the exercise to lose weight, but the exercise is healthy for you, right? It's going to
True.
help you build muscle, going to help your heart,
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So for our viewers out there, that's a good example with carnivore. Um, Especially if you're early on, you can really just concentrate on the eating, the dieting part, right? The getting the food right and getting over your sugar cravings and so forth, and not worry
Hmm.
as much about exercise. And I kind of did the same thing as you, right? I had exercised in the past, but when I first started carnivore, I didn't exercise for a while, and then I kind of started into it after a little bit. So, get it right, and then you can start slowly going into doing some exercise. That's a good example there, the way you did
Yeah.
it. So that's
Yeah.
great. Um, all right, so hopefully I don't lose power. Another storm is coming through. I
Oh
don't know if
no.
you can hear in the background, but
Nope.
it's been a rough evening here. We've had a few pretty severe storms, and it's starting up again. So
Hopefully you have a
hopefully I
strong
don't lose
roof.
you. But so let's try and go past the storm here. Um, all right, so exercise. So we talked about the exercise. Do you do any kind of like walking or anything like that? I know there's a lot of people that are really into the walking. I've tried to do it a little bit. I just can't really get into it, so I don't do a lot of walking. But what's your take on that?
I don't do a lot of walking, but I am pretty active. I mean, I put it this way: I don't intentionally like say I'm going to go walking to walk. So I may go on a walk with my wife, or we may go to there's a waterfall area at a park that you kind of have to walk a little bit to. We'll go walk over there or something, or we'll go walk around the mall. They still have one of those around here, so we might do that on a rainy day. But coincidentally, the last well, since COVID started, I really started a major garden in the backyard, right? And it's a lot of work. Like it's a huge garden, and so what I did was, I thought, well, I'm going to do self sufficiency and all this sort of thing, and eat healthy and grow your own food and all this sort of stuff, and so I started a bunch of plants at the beginning of the season and planted them. And I don't eat anything from the garden, which is absolutely crazy for doing all this work. But that's a lot of work, like doing the weeding and
Yeah.
doing the picking and all this stuff and the watering and just everything. So I get quite a bit of steps in. Still walk around maintaining that for my wife and family members and neighbors and stuff that eat the tomatoes and peppers and onions and whatnot. But yeah, I don't intentionally walk. That's like if you want to start out your day bad, or at least it ain't going to get any worse, then start out by walking. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't like to just do stuff like that without a purpose.
Yeah. But it sounds like you're getting a lot of exercise, just, the some of the body weight exercises you're doing and then with the garden. So,
Right.
you don't really need the walking either. Um,
Right.
like I've been kind of doing some working out. So I have getting some exercise at least. So I've been doing that instead of walking. Um,
Nice.
so so let's see. So you were talking about the energy level, how your energy with the body weight exercises, you started doing that because of your energy levels and so forth.
Hmm.
Were before carnivore, was it like really low energy where you just never really wanted to do anything, or were you more normal and average like, and then it just sped weight up? Like what's the change there?
So yeah, the energy level was way down. Um, I would have to force myself essentially to do daily tasks, and I try to be as lazy as I possibly could just because of the brain fog and the lack of energy. Yeah, I had no energy to do any of that stuff. And I made a decision early on that because I had done the Atkins diet in the past, so I knew that exercising it didn't really have a relationship to weight loss. It was really what you put in your mouth. So I knew going in, I'm going to prolong exercising as long as I possibly can, because I know that it'll be better for my body to not have all that extra weight on me while I'm
Mm.
trying to exercise, especially if I hadn't exercised in such a long time. The small muscles and things like that in my body, that, I probably have a lot of injuries, or at least be a lot more prone to injury. So if I can eliminate most of the weight ahead of time, and then start working out, I'll do that. But to be honest with you, in the back of my mind, I never thought that I would start exercising because I just hate doing it. But I got to
Yeah.
the point where I was like, man, I actually feel pretty good. I got all this energy, and I had a ton of energy still when I went to go to bed, and I got to do something with it. So,
Yeah. And then how how often do you normally eat? And so it's kind of a two-part question here. Like, how often do you eat? And because of the energy level thing, do you try and eat more earlier in the day, or does it not matter to you, or what?
let's start towards the beginning of carnivore. Obviously, I was doing the intermittent fasting, so I was eating within an 8 hour window, and so it was what 16 hours fasting, 8 hours feasting window. And then when I went carnivore, it took a couple days to kind of adjust to that eating that way, but it naturally transitioned into 16/8. Um, I'd eat rarely would I eat 3 meals a day. It was just basically two, and I felt so much better than I did when I was just doing the intermittent fasting. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I just naturally was doing that 16/8, and I went for probably, oh man, maybe 3 months with eating twice a day, and then I just naturally transitioned into 1 meal a day for whatever reason. I guess my body kicked into overdrive with burning fat, and I wasn't hungry except for eating that once a day. I didn't do it on purpose. I just kind of listened to my body, and then once I got down to maybe 15 pounds left that I felt like I needed to lose, I started getting more hungry, and went back up to 2 meals a day. So
Hmm.
just try to pay attention to my body and what it's saying. My hunger signals. I'm a lot more in tune with that now. So, and if I don't listen to it, then eventually I will start to feel like I'm getting a headache or more sluggish or something like that. So I make sure that I get something in me, and then I'm usually good to go for 6 or 7 hours at least.
Yeah. Do you take any electrolytes or anything?
Salt.
Okay.
That's it.
Just salt your food.
Yep. So the whole time I was doing this, when I first started, I was doing coffee and Diet Pepsi. I had a severe addiction to Diet Pepsi for 30 years. And that's something that I really wanted to kick to the curb. But that to me was more hard than sugar. Sugar was like a couple weeks without having sugar. It's seemed like it's pretty easy. It was real hard that first couple weeks. But once I got out of that window, it was pretty easy to not go back to it because of the satiation that you have with the fat and protein.
Hmm.
I would guess, but the Diet Pepsi was they got some chemicals in that stuff. That's man, it is addicting. I don't know what it is, but it was hard for me to kick it. So I think that was affecting the caffeine in the coffee, and the Diet Pepsi was affecting cramping and stuff,
Hmm.
because it's a diuretic, and I didn't really realize that as I was doing it, because you listen to a lot of these people on YouTube. Oh yeah, drink my coffee, and you don't necessarily hear maybe issues or complications that go along with that. It almost seems like a lot of times they just want to justify that they're drinking their coffee and maybe relate to other people that drink coffee, and everybody can have a coffee party, and whatever it is. I know how it is with coffee because I drank it, but during that time, I did take sodium phosphate and magnesium malate, well, along with the salt, which is the three ingredients in the element unflavored.
Hmm.
So I looked at the ingredients on their website. They have them listed, and I bought a bulk bag of each one of the magnesium and the potassium, and just weighed out my own and did that, and that seemed to help with the cramping. But once I finally kicked the coffee and the Diet Pepsi to the curb, about a week after that, I just naturally stopped putting the electrolytes together, and I haven't had issues with the cramping since, which I
Yeah.
thought was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty good. I think too, maybe a lot of people talk about how you really need the electrolytes when you're doing low carb, whether it's keto or no carb for carnivore or whatever. And I
mm-hmm,
wonder how much of that is really more of just when you first transition and your body's getting adjusted to it than
mm-hmm,
really needing to continue to do it over time. I don't know.
right. Yeah, I mean, I would probably say that at least, from my research with the caffeine and the electrolytes, it does seem like your body flushes out a lot of water, and along with that goes a lot of electrolytes early on. So it's
Hmm.
probably important to make sure that you do take some electrolytes to fill your cells, or replenish what's being washed out. But if you're not drinking caffeine or any other, if you're not on a medication that's like a diuretic type action, you may not need to continue with the electrolytes. I would at
Yeah.
least experiment with that, to make sure you're not having a extra cost, you know, or in your budget when you may not even need it.
Yeah.
So I needed it because of the caffeine was definitely flushing water from me and dehydrating me. So uh, once that was gone, just like Dr. Chafee, he doesn't take any electrolytes either. And I thought it was
Hmm.
going to be impossible, but now I know he's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. All right. So when you first started carnivore, there's always two sets of people with carnivore, right? Either the person that just jumps straight in or the person that goes in, kind of eases it slowly, eliminates their carbs, so forth. Which one were you?
Jump in.
You jumped in. All right.
Yeah, I was the
Most
idiot.
people probably do jump in. I'll say most people do actually jump in. Um, so I got to ask you, did you have any problems other than you talked about the sugar cravings? Did you have any other problems with jumping in?
Oh yeah, yeah. With the number that equals 1 plus 1. Yeah, it was like Joe Rogan said. It was an event for a good 2 weeks for me, because
Mm,
my body seems to adapt slowly to things, and I was ingesting way too much fat, because I had
mm,
been doing so much vegan. It was going to take longer for my body to start going, hey, you're ingesting all this fat and protein now. We need to start ramping up the bile production to process all the fat. And it just took a lot longer for me. And once I realized I needed to cut back on the fat, that definitely helped in the 1 plus 1 area. and and I gave it maybe another week or two with the lower fat. Now I felt a little bit more sluggish, but I wasn't having those issues, and my body naturally just started processing things better, and I was able to ramp up the fat content after that, and then yeah, there's no issues at all
mm.
now.
Okay.
So that was probably really the only complication, that
Okay.
the
That's what I was going
water.
to ask. If that
Yeah.
was really the only thing that you saw or not. Because some people see a lot of other things too, like they get headaches and just feel achy. Like they call it keto flu, right? Um,
Right.
but then you get other people that say, no, I never experienced that. So that's interesting.
Well, I did have that, but it was only for like maybe a day, and
Mm.
it wasn't bad or anything like that. Like I was incapacitated. I just didn't
Yeah.
feel that great. And then later on, I learned, I probably should have been having some electrolytes to help with that, but too late now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the eating. So you're pretty much twice a day now again.
Yep.
Um, so what's a typical day of eating for you? What kind of foods you eat?
Usually eat 6 eggs for the first meal. Usually cooked in bacon grease or butter. Usually I prefer bacon grease. And then the second meal is usually some kind of steak, usually a ribeye or a strip steak with butter on it. Um, I smoked a brisket the other day, so I actually portioned that up and then froze it. Vacuum sealed it in like 1 pound packages, froze those. So I'll pull one of those out every few days in between eating steak. But yeah, it's usually just 6 eggs and one steak. I don't even know what the weight. I mean, they're pretty thick. They're inch and a quarter, whatever you get from Sam's Club. It's like a three
Okay.
three pack of
Yeah.
ribeyes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I eat.
So pretty much a beef and eggs type of person, right? Not
Right.
as much with pork or chicken.
No chicken. I have found that pork. I still have to do some testing with this, but it does seem like pork has some sort of like histamine effect with me or something. Like
Mm.
my body just doesn't seem like it agrees with it. But usually when I have pork, it's like I had it on my wife's birthday, and I had cake too. So um, which one was it? Right.
Yeah.
And then the last time I had pork, I had a beer. So yeah, I need to eat pork, I guess, when I'm not doing something else to see if that's what it is. But I think there might be something there. Chicken,
Yeah.
I could take it or leave it. I mean, it's really just seems kind of like cardboard now. I have to drown the wings in butter. Make sure I'm eating it with the skin on it to get the fat.
Oh
Drown it
yeah.
in butter, and then I can eat them. But yeah, it just nothing compares to a ribeye, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah. Definitely. So I do like to eat chicken, or more so chicken wings, but yeah, definitely I gotta have the skin on them and butter on them. There's just not enough fat content without that. So I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah.
What about like seafood? Do you eat any type of seafood ever?
Nope.
Okay.
I
And
don't
then
like
what
it.
about like organ meats?
Nope.
Okay.
Ain't doing organ meats.
Yeah.
After growing up and staying at my grandparents' house a lot, and they had liver and onions a lot,
Hmm.
smelling that stuff, ain't no way I'm eating any of that. No way. I had it once when I was a kid, and it was gross. I don't remember exactly what it tasted like, but I'm never going to eat it. I don't eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would put it to you this way, if I was out in the wild and I had to take down my own cow or antelope or whatever, I jump on the back and bite it and wrestle it to the ground, and I open it up and I eat it. I'm not going for the liver. I'm not going for the intestines and all that stuff. I'm going for the meat.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
it's funny how similar we are actually. Um, the only difference I really see is that I will eat pork occasionally, and I don't seem to have issues that I've noticed from it. But otherwise, there's a lot of similarities with the way that we eat. And then just like some of the things that we've noticed as well, the exercise, that kind of stuff as well. So that's pretty interesting. Um,
mm-hmm.
and here's something else that I think might possibly be a similarity as well. So let me ask you, your family, are you the only one that's doing carnivore? That's what it kind of sounded like earlier when you were talking. Is that true?
No, my two cats are.
Yes. Okay.
They actually are. So we were on had them on a what we thought was a really good low what do you call it, ingredient list, and it was made from like rabbit meat and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And because they had like skin problems, and itch and stuff like that. So trying to go grain free and all that sort of thing. And then once I went carnivore, somebody mentioned somewhere that cats are obligate carnivores, and I thought, oh, what the heck, that's I wonder if they're supposed to be eating this dried cat food. It doesn't make sense. So I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, cats, they eat like raw meat. So I looked into that, and sure enough, there's companies that sell all kinds of raw meat with organs and tripe and bones mixed into it and everything. And once I found that out, it took a little bit of convincing my wife that, hey, they're obligate carnivores. That doesn't mean that they don't eat anything else. They're supposed to eat like raw meat. Literally, that's how they're designed. And enough talking like that, she finally caved in, thankfully, and now they eat raw meat and their skin is perfect. I just took one of the cats to the vet today, and the vet said he's 100%, he's perfect. Whereas before he
Hmm.
had to have like little steroid pills and stuff like that to try to deal with the biting, certain areas on his skin and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But so I did convince our cats to go carnivore,
Well,
but
that's
nobody
good.
else
But
yet.
yeah, so your wife doesn't do carnivore. Does she do any kind of low carb or just whatever?
No, just kind of, whatever. She has
Yeah.
been eating more meat just because, I'm cooking it all the time, and she doesn't have to cook the main course. So
Mm.
usually, so she'll partake in that more than what we would have ever done before.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but one of my sons, he's expressed interest in doing the carnivore diet, and he's
Good.
been doing more and more of it. So I don't think
Good.
he's fully on board yet, but yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. So my wife definitely does not do carnivore. When I first started, she was like, I I think you're gonna have a heart attack or something from that, but I guess if you want to try it. And then as we went on and she noticed that I was losing weight and getting healthier and my blood work was good, she was like, okay, but she still doesn't want to do it. But she's like, okay, I guess I don't know the long term, but it seems like it works for you, but she still doesn't want to do it. My son was kind of like a few weeks back was in the situation where you were talking with your son, right? Where that you said he's thinking about doing it, and my son was thinking about doing it, and he's had some depression and stuff,
Mhm.
and he did like about a week or two and stopped. He couldn't get past the
Mm.
whole diarrhea part, right?
Right, right, right.
um, and unfortunately, that's when most people that stop carnivore, that's when they stop, is in those first couple of weeks. If they would
Hmm.
go 30, 60 days, they'd find that they feel so much better
Yep.
that they would just keep doing it. So I'm still working with him to try and get him to really do it, but we'll see how it goes. And my
Right.
daughters, they really have no interest in it. So I don't know. I'm
Well,
trying, I try to set the example and we'll see, right?
right. Hopefully they stay healthy enough that they don't run into any major complications down the road that
Yeah.
they're like, "What was that thing Dad was doing?" And then go to it then. You know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Adam, why don't you, to kind of close out here, give us what would be your, I guess, I don't know if takeaway is the right word, but your message that you want to give to the audience.
Um, if you're considering the carnivore diet, first of all, do your research. Obviously, what I'm about to say is not medical advice in any way, shape, or form. It's just tips from my experience. I would say, without a doubt, do at least 60 days, uh, and try to do 90 days if you can, and then evaluate at the end of that, whether you want to continue or not. It's a small period of your life, just to see, what exactly can happen, because, you may have heard you can lose weight. You may have heard, you can heal arthritis, or you can heal this or that or whatever. But you may have more going on in your body than you think you have going on. And just try it for that 60 or 90 days and see how you feel. You may have 5 or 10 things like everybody else that you're able to resolve. You may be resolving things that you have going on that you don't know you have internally. So that would be another reason to start. But mainly, I would say, if you do attempt to start the diet, start slow. Um, if you can, if you're a jump in, both feet first kind of a person, go ahead by all means, but know that there's a caveat with that you might spend some extra time in the restroom. So, but besides that, I would, if you can handle going maybe keto first and let your body get fat adapted, and then move towards a little bit less carbs, and then finally get to the carnivore with zero carbs. I think that would probably be a better route for you, and a better experience, and less jarring to your system, if you will. Because some people could potentially have complications with that influx of having the higher fat and the higher protein. Um, so that would probably be my number one uh, piece of advice or tip, is to go slow to start with. Do it for 60 to 90 days and see how you feel. If you don't feel any better, don't continue.
Yeah. Great advice. Adam, again, your YouTube channel is Carnivore Today. The
Mm-hmm.
In the description of this video will be a link to his channel, so please go check it out. He's got some great videos out there already. You've been doing the channel for a couple months, I think. Is that right? About a month or two?
It's about a month. Yeah.
About a month. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And also, why don't you do a quick plug about your keto cookout lives that you do? Those are weekly, right?
Yes. Yes. So we started a weekly live. It's called Keto Cookout Live, and we're gonna try to do that. Right now we're doing it every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern. So check out the channel, look at the live tab on my channel, and you can get notified of the next one. But it's just kind of a fun hangout. We're going to incorporate a lot of different things this week that should be fun. We do things like the scurvy check. We do make sure that everybody that's there still does not have scurvy from not having all these vitamin C pills and all your vegetables and stuff. So and then our new tagline is we grilling, baby. So we're going to try to get everybody that comes on to say that catchphrase. And yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun, just hanging out. We'll do some Q&A, things like that, and a lot of audience interaction, just entertainment, really. I mean, we'll let Chafee and Dr. Barry handle the corns and the bunions on people's feet, and stuff like that, because they're great at answering all those, technical medical questions. And we'll just be a fool over there and have fun. So yeah, check it out.
All right. Well, thank you, Adam, for being on the channel today. It was great having you here. Hopefully, sometime soon we can get together again and do another interview or do a live or something like that.
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
I'd, I
Adam.
would, I'd be honored. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it.
All right.